open, but they're not going to. Instead, they're going to ban it themselves. Lucian, I feel, has to make its way to the ban table unless they want to play it themselves.
Yeah, first pick Lucian would be something I didn't expect coming into Worlds Play-Ins, but something that has defined this series. Chitan's power on that pick alongside Kuri's Nami has been devastating for R7. Jax, their final ban, they're mixing things up. They're now on the blue side. Before it was the Orianna, but paiN Gaming have done themselves a solid and got rid of it. paiN Gaming now going to remove the Lucian themselves.
So LeBlanc is open. Now, I'm not saying that you should first pick a LeBlanc.
First pick LeBlanc, you say, Vedi?
But Renekton also. Do you first pick the Renekton though? No, instead you go for the Sejuani. I think that this makes a lot of sense. Oddie has a sense of comfort and an ability to act as a frontline and more reliable engage. On the Poppy, you have good disengage tools, but they were very reliant on Lyonz acting as an engage tool and ultimately punishing the mistakes on paiN Gaming. But this time, there's more agency given over to Oddie. So how will paiN Gaming respond? Will they look for the early Renekton priority? Will they continue to prioritize that bot side of the map? I would be very surprised. I am surprised. Yeah.
So dyNquedo incredibly comfortable on this pick. That's the important thing to note. I think he's only lost 2 games on it across the course of the year, one of those being in this series. So giving him something he's comfortable on in a game where you think he needs to be a pivotal part of your composition does make sense. But as you say, a little bit surprising considering the fact that Keine has had his number for most of this series. The Charms, obviously, now alongside the Wukong for Cariok, can do a lot of work.
I'm wondering if Keine thinks about going for a LeBlanc. Like, I guess you can argue that there's not really a really good matchup, like a stompy type of matchup that you could dominate on. You could go for something like an Akali, but I don't love it this early on in the draft. The Renekton makes sense for Summit, a very safe blind, knowing that they're going to have to go for the blind anyway. But do you lock in an AD carry here? No, they're just going to go for the LeBlanc. I think it makes sense. Like, early on in the matchup, very similar to every matchup that we've seen so far, is you have a lot of advantages against the Ahri in the 1 versus 1. Once she gets level 6, I think it becomes a lot more of a skill matchup. Obviously, the Charm can be a very powerful tool. But yeah, okay, so the high priority on the Ahri, like, don't get me wrong, game 2, he definitely had a lot more impact. Some of his charms still went wide, but later on to the game, he was landing those crucial picks. As a side laner, Ahri is a fantastic champion. Now, how do they round out their first half? Do they want to lock in a top laner here? Something like the Gnar for Wizer could make a lot of sense. But they're really paranoid about giving this bot laner something comfortable to have agency on, to win it on the 2 versus 2, and so they're going to take the Kalista and then ban away the Ashe. Okay, I do quite like this strategy.
The question is, where can R7 go with their bot lane? Renata taking away Kalista, Renata, just such a powerful combination.
Nautilus next, maybe?
Nautilus as well would make sense. Even a Rell. Rell Kalista is so powerful. It really depends on how R7 want to play it, because you could look for something like the Ezreal and just play back, and then Rell is not as powerful because you can just play on the back foot.
One of Kuri's most comfortable champions is his Alistar.
True.
And they can save that for last pick too, so they can wait and see. But he's played 5 different champions across 5 different games. Of course, the last 2 Nami games that he's played as well. He's got a lot of versatility.
Nico.
And they're going to respect that possibility as well. Kuri had a fantastic performance on this champion yesterday. So what will their pick be? You have to imagine it's top lane.
I think Ksante's safe. Gives you isolation in a team fight as well. You can pull that Renekton out, stop him from getting onto your backline, or focus down the enemy AD or support. It's the safest blind you can pick in this situation, and with support being left for last, they are giving Kuri everything he needs to succeed against whatever R7 decide to pick as their bot lane.
What will it be? Maybe they just play safe. Maybe they just go for something like the Ezreal.
I wouldn't mind Ezreal Rell, I'll be honest. I don't think it's the best in terms of dominating that lane, but it gives you so much team fight later on. And if Keine can get control of the mid lane, we've seen how well he can do when he starts to move around. Nautilus, a similar thing. Obviously, the slow from Riptide helping out the staggering blows as well onto the Kalista. Also a denial away from that Kalista Naut we were talking about, Vedi.
My brain's saying Samira could be good here. I'm like,
no,
I don't think it's going to be
That's the Dracos voice in your head right there. It's like, Neela, Samira, Neela, Samira. It's obviously not going to be Rek'Sai Varus.
I like this. Yeah, that's fine. On-hit Varus, I think, is still very strong. The problem with Varus is the amount of mobility you have into things like Wukong. It's a scary thing to play into. I think I would prefer a Rell, but maybe they're concerned about the amount of lockdown that they have. Maokai would give you a lot more utility, but the Rell is going to be the lock-in for Kuri. I think this makes the most sense because even it's a champion that typically you associate with once you're in, but Kalista provides that extra bit of security for either a re-engage or to just take, in case the engage doesn't quite go the way that you want it, you can bring your support out to safety. But a lot of great team fighting tools coming out from the side of paiN Gaming. The Wukong gonna scale nicely and provide that additional damage later on into the game, which means that this mid-jungle combo is going to be lethal, especially with finding picks on a side lane or just going for those early skirmishes. Meanwhile, R7, they have a lot of poke at their disposal with both LeBlanc and Varus, champions that leverage Fog of War exceptionally well. They're a scary duo to face check into, especially with the Nautilus paired alongside them, with R7 having an incredibly powerful bot lane top 2 versus 2. Renekton Sejuani is a very potent combo that we've seen multiple times. Renekton consistently denied away by the side of paiN Gaming. A lot on the line. It feels like the
into Americas next year for CBLOL, 8 years in the desert. For paiN 9, and for all these players standing on the shoulders of those who came before in their regions, looking to do them proud one last time before the Americas comes in next year, and we get to see them challenge all again under a brand new banner. Lines of scrimmage set out across the map here. Seo playing very safe back towards the tower. Looks like they put an early ward down towards that bottom lane to track if anything spicy was happening, but I doubt there's spice here, Vedi. Just a little bit of salt and pepper. It's German scharf is what this is.
In the old chat right now, Keine and dyNquedo saying, I like you too.
And now they're going to try and beat the hell out of each other for 30 minutes. And we're here along for the ride. As you said, a rivalry between the two regions, 10-3, sorry, in favor of CBLOL across the last 10 years. LLA have been denied so many times.
I mean, it's crazy to think how many times both of these regions have come close to qualifying to the main stage and then they've been denied. To have that opportunity against one another.
I mean, for paiN Gaming, so many times they were close to representing the CBLOL and being denied. 5 finals in a row they made as an organization, always getting second place. Then at the 6th opportunity, making it through. Lyonz here, taken down to about half HP. Something that's a little overlooked in the Rell Nautilus matchup is the fact that Rell can break through your Titan's Wrath shield as the Nautilus, so you don't have that tool at your disposal to the same degree you usually would. Obviously, that means she has to have held her Shattering Strike, which is often used as a possible engage tool. Keine here, once again, winning the mid lane matchup early on. Is a little bit of a struggle for Ahri early doors because of the mobility of the LeBlanc before level 6.
I mean, it's also just, you can't really trade against the LeBlanc. I mean, Ahri is not a good trading champion. If that hasn't become clear over the last 3 games, I'll try and make it clear to you now. She's not a great trading champion. If she connects a charm, she gets a good chunk, which is what gives her agency in lane, but that's what makes it so difficult, right, is you need to land that charm. Now, LeBlanc is going to leverage the wave to kind of navigate through, leverage them as a wall so that you can't connect that charm, and you kind of have to predict when that aggression is going to come through in order to connect it. But if you throw it too early, then it makes it even easier for the LeBlanc to get a nice charm. So while it can be a skill matchup, a lot of the responsibility falls on the Ahri to be able to find those outplays as LeBlanc continues. Oh, the cannon being lost there.
It looks like Cheetah and Kuri kind of pretending that they want an early back here, coming back into the lane. You can see Seo and Lyonz thinking about it. Charm does hit onto Keine in the mid lane. dyNquedo trading positively there. The hook.
Ooh. Thought he bent the bullet there.
It's one of those lollipopping situations where you're like, that shouldn't have hit me, but it ends up doing so because of the way that Nautilus Q works and a lot of those hooks
seen
work.
That with the lines where one line is for terrain and the other one is for champions.
And then it has a little bubble at the end, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of lollipopping. Oddie here. Pushing in. Now, dyNquedo is down to about half HP.
I
mean, Oddie might just be like, hey, mate, you don't get any of this CS. dyNquedo forced away. There's the first chain landing, but Keine just going in and immediately dying. dyNquedo will follow suit. Oddie only level 3 to the level 4 of Cariok, and now he needs to get the hell out of there. We'll leave him in the permafrost. Does have the flash. Cariok can follow, and he's still brings down the staff. PNG find 2. The dive ill-advised, I'd say.
But dyNquedo played that as well as he could have, because he connects the charm once the chain has connected, because that crucially drew tower aggro onto Keine, which meant that 2 tower shots connected. So he was trying his best to get the kill before that happened, but he wasn't able to do it, allowing them to win out on the 2 versus 2. Now the bot lane.
Looking for the engage here, so having to flash away, does still have that barrier, ignite ticking as well. Kuri burnt both his summoners for that exchange, but as a support in this situation, you take that trade every single day, especially since the dive is beginning to materialize here for paiN Gaming, trying to put Seo and Lyonz even further behind. They'll try and get the shove out. Lyonz acting as that body man, that bouncer. It looks like in the end, paiN Gaming will call it off.
dyNquedo needs to be careful about these roams. In terms of the gold being pretty even in the mid lane, the problem is, like, look at the farm, the experience. This is going to be a problem if he keeps looking for these roams, and he has to be very cautious about how much he is actually moving. Now the wave is pushing towards him, so that's the good news. But if he were to die on a dive now, it would be some very serious problems. Meanwhile, Oddie has been stealing away some camps on the top side of the map.
It's the first chain. Kane doesn't have 2 chains yet, but will have those at his disposal relatively shortly. Kuri here. Crash downs, gets a shield. It's eaten up by the Varus. Oddie trying to trade with Cariok again. Doesn't have the double buffs, of course, gifted those over to the Wukong earlier on, but with Keine having the push in the mid lane. Summit under the tower. Wizer able to jump away. Summit just hit 6 off that as well, and Wizer decides that he doesn't want any more of that. Will back then TP back in with a much fuller health bar.
Press tab and you see that mid CS diff and you are stressed. But the good news is the goal difference is not that big of a deal. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see a replay of the skirmish that happened in mid, but dyNquedo did do a really good job and showcased why that charm is so crucial in the matchup. Now that he's gotten level 6, he'll have a lot more security and safety thanks to the ultimate, but Keine, knowing how strong he is, lands the charm.
First chain.
James.
Dashes back away from Kuri. Lyonz, he wants to join the fray. Hooks the minion. Sometimes you got to show him who's boss. dyNquedo forced away, does have no TP and no flash, so will take a while to come back into this fight. Kuri could try and hold the wave, but I don't think that's the wisest thing to do.
I mean, look at the experience difference in mid lane now. It's basically a full level. And having this much control on the mid wave means that it's very difficult for Cariok to really do much. He is playing towards his strong side of the map, which is the bot lane for now, as the swap did come through. Numbers advantage guaranteed for R7. Ultimately means a trade in objectives, as the gold largely stays relatively even, with advantages coming out on top and mid in favor of R7. Plate going to be secured as well. A tense affair. We talked about how these mid laners are going to be crucial for the results of the game. Keine off to a great start. The Cariok on this Wukong in a position to be a real threat himself. You already see that Seo doesn't have the flash available. I'm wondering if they can consider a dive in the near future. Potentially set up a stacked wave towards bot. dyNquedo with a little bit more wave clear now. Not quite enough to one-shot the wave, having invested in the early magic resistance to help get him through this matchup.
The risk for dyNquedo is you don't have flash, you do have Spirit Rush, as you say, so you do have a little bit more flexibility in this, but at every opportunity, Keine is going to be trying to put you under as much pressure as possible. You can even see Lyonz actually moving up from the bottom lane, having Seo just stay underneath the tower to deny as much vision around here. dyNquedo is the target, there's a bullseye on his back, and when you use the charm like that, the chains will find their home. Keine just chipping away bit by bit until eventually that kill threat materializes.
And of course, we've been talking a lot about the mid lane because of how much action has been happening here, but the same is happening on the top side of the map. Summit has been denied this Renekton so often, but he's constantly finding good trades, building advantages. He finds himself with a pretty good lead for now.
Charm going down. Lyonz has to flash away. The Cyclone just short, but now a Tempest for Lyonz. Cariok gets his second on the board.
Numbers advantage in the mid lane for paiN Gaming, and they turn it into a kill. dyNquedo has the ultimate, maybe connects a charm.
Looking for it, lands the charm. Kuri there with the Shadowing Strike, but I don't think they have the damage to go through. Keine turns it back down onto dyNquedo.
Let's be careful about overstaying here. One more charm will be enough to get the kill. Low mana though on
Shadowing Strike?
Didn't want to follow that one up.
Yeah, it's like, do you have enough mana for dyNquedo to actually get the kill? Will the Magnet Storm actually do anything when Keine can just jump out? I think it was wise not to follow it up, but always the possibility that PNG would have gone more.
The kill did go over to Cariok.
Yes.
Ideally would have gone to the Ahri, given the discrepancy that's happening in terms of the farm.
Sure, I'm sure Cariok would say differently, but yeah.
I'm sure he would. Admittedly, though, on this Wukong, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. We already talked about the fact that Flash is really the only escape tool that Seo is going to have. Obviously, Lyonz is going to have the peel available to him as well. But yeah, I am worried for R7 in terms of how they're going to manage this Wukong. Relatively squishy in the early game, but so much team fight threat, so much backline access, and it's so easy for him to get to the backline. Too often we talk about flanks, but thanks to his W, he can be very crafty, especially when you pair that up with his E, when it comes to actually getting onto the backline.
Oddie looking for something down towards this bottom side. There's a ward in the tri-bush, but Kuri and Ksante are always very willing to be aggro. Glacial Prison hits only onto Kuri. Fate's Call. Easy enough escape. Have to burn the flash from Ksante. I think he burned the cleanse there as well. Summit here needs to be a little afraid of the all-out as he dashes in for a bit of damage and slices away to escape the clutches of the Ksante. Cariok on his way up is on a ward. So he goes for that Scuttle Crab. Keine.
Nice.
Yeah, good chunk there from dyNquedo.
I was just about to say, he's also made it through the worst of it. Right now that he's got Merc Treads and the Lost Chapter, he's feeling way more comfortable. His wave clear is a lot stronger. You'll see him melt through those caster minions now. And after starting the lane by just getting a good trade, immediately, Keine has to alleviate some of that pressure. So good job from him. Base is going to come through, has the TP available for Keine. I don't know if he really wants to invest it here, though. As, once again, Kuri and Cariok regrouping as they set their sights on a bit of deeper vision. The Grubs respawning 5 seconds. And paiN Gaming want to get their hands on it.
paiN Gaming have done a good job this series of denying R7 6 Grubs. R7 played for it in game 1. paiN Gaming came across. We see the Charm landing here alongside the Shadowing Striking. Oddie was just face-checking into them. The Spirit Rush for the chase. dyNquedo looking for a little bit more as he jumps onto Keine. The Ethereal chase to get Spirit Rush reset. Lyonz trying to come in from the side, but Oddie just face-checked straight into paiN Gaming, knew that they were around the Grubs and still walked into his demise. paiN Gaming will take 3 Grubs, they'll take a kill alongside it. TP behind here. Wizer needs to find a way out, pops the all-out. Keine going in, flash away by Wizer. As Keine now lands the chains, even with a dash away, I'm not sure with Summit tanking the tower, Wizer will be able to survive this one. Summit dashes out of tower, aggro, Keine takes him, then flashes. And the final tower shot doesn't find its mark.
They did have to commit the flash and the TP from Keine to at the very least get some form of cross map, but you're right, ultimately it's a 1-for-1 trade with the Grubs going in favor of paiN Gaming and a few extra plates for Summit too. He may have overstayed here, he needs to be careful. He's greeting for the extra plate, Vedic.
Summit overstaying Vedi in a side lane? Who would know? Kuri comes around the corner with the Shadowing Strike, the Magnet Storm coming down as well with the crash down, TP in. paiN Gaming investing a lot in this, and Summit hasn't overstayed. He'll just back away. The Drake, though, available for paiN, so...
But he has TP.
Yeah, he does. I still think the Drake just goes over to paiN, right? I think they're fine.
Especially with Keine in top lane. I mean, paiN Gaming, the gold is an interesting one because you can see that the solo laners are giving the overall gold advantage, but this Wukong continues to get stronger. Ahri's about to complete the Malignance. Dragon being secured as well. paiN Gaming, I think, doing a really good job finding these picks, punishing the plays from R7. Summit forced to be respectful here, knowing that he's on the weak side.
Does have the flash, no Dominus for him. That Renekton ultimate still on cooldown. We've seen this a few times though, paiN Gaming investing into one point of the map, trying to take these plays, trying to take the towers, and as you say, mid lane falling lower. Kuri trying to escape the clutches of Oddie, but meanwhile in the top lane, Keine is just getting free push by himself. LeBlanc not the quickest tower taker in the world, as the hook lands in the mid lane, there's the depth charge to follow up. Ksante trying to escape, but Oddie puts him in the dirt. Now Kuri next on the menu. Seo's gonna have to flash away because Cariok is here for the Cyclone. The barrier, the flash, not enough to keep Seo alive. And now in a 3v2, a 4v2, dyNquedo comes in from the side with a charm and 2 fall for R7.
R7 just couldn't move. CC after CC after CC. They were permanently rooted, stunned, knocked up. And it means that paiN Gaming were able to convert some kills back after losing their AD carry. But the good news is R7's on the cross map. They secure the tower and bot lane. Plates being secured by Keine up in top lane. Look at this, level 11 now for the LeBlanc. Overall, in terms of gold, it's R7 that propel into the lead.
About 1,000 gold ahead. 2 Drakes to paiN Gaming, though, puts them in good stead if they want to try and fight around that. Ksante has been involved in 3 kills, but hasn't picked up any of them. I'm sure he'd like to rectify that across the next couple of minutes. A rift-held fight possibly brewing. A storm on the horizon here. As Ksante is slowed. Lyonz looks for the hook there, only onto Kuri, who can dash away with the crash down, but that means it's going to be slowed for the next couple of moments before he can remount up onto his noble steed. Oddie has a habit of just starting the rift out. Here he does have a little bit of support while he does it. dyNquedo is down in the bot lane, no TP for him. Summit's going to take the top tier 1 as well. And he'll get the local gold. So it's a very good sequence for R7.
This Renekton is mega fed. He is extremely strong. He has so much gold. And it's something that paiN will have to deal with at some point. Like, sure, Wizer will be able to hold the Renekton, but in fights with the Herald now secured, things are only going to get scarier. I was concerned for R7, given that they weren't really converting these early, well, picks into really anything. It felt like the game was slowly slipping out of their hands, but now they're in full control of the objectives around the map. paiN Gaming will secure the bot lane tower themselves, but unlocking this mid-tier 1 gives you so much more access into the river, into the enemy jungle. Potential to make more plays. Keine, we already talked about how this LeBlanc wants to try and leverage the fog of war. Now you're going to have a much easier time doing that as the bot wave is caught. And we kind of return to a neutral map state.
Next fight, 2 minutes away, most likely, as that's when the Infernal Drake will be up and R7 kind of have to fight it. Otherwise, it's sole point for paiN Gaming. paiN Gaming, an organization that has been with the CBLOL since its inception. They were in the first ever finals of the CBLOL 10 years ago, lost to Vivokeed, and now in a kind of a Roboros situation, they beat Vivokeed to make it to this Worlds. 10 years since the first, now in what will be the last of the CBLOL, but of course the Americas League evolution coming next year for both North and South America. Who else but paiN Gaming to represent them, an organization and a team that has been around for so long. Ksante and dyNquedo as well, been around for so long in Brazil. Keine goes in, dyNquedo misses the charm. The chains don't quite connect, but dyNquedo has to invest his ultimate. A much longer cooldown than the Mimic from Keine.
I think Keine should have been a little quicker with the chains there, but ultimately he gets the ultimate out from dyNquedo, so small win for him, showcasing how strong the LeBlanc is in the side lane. Your job as Ahri is mainly just to wave clear and then get out. So a little overextended there from dyNquedo. Will give the opportunity for Keine to push in bot. Seo pushing in mid. They're stacking up as 5 now. Both sides are. Deep vision control invested from R7. Hex Flash. Nope, nothing too crazy. Nice setup.
It's the Drake fight we were talking about, Vedi. TP to the bot lane. R7 trying to maintain control around this. The Sentinel spots them out. Oddie able to dodge away from the Shadowing Strike, but Wizer is looking for a little bit more. Keine here on a control ward. He'll start to step away. Drake up in 20 seconds time, and perhaps the deciding moment of this series, the deciding moment for LLA and for CBLOL. Will we see a LATAM or Brazil represented once again at the World Swiss stage as Oddie's caught out? The crash down doesn't land. The charm was enough to chunk out Oddie. Now Wizer on the flank. Ksante there as well. The hook goes down, but the Pathmaker in. All out a possibility still. Ksante looking for that bait score, but look at the damage already. Onto Wizer. TP coming back in, and Summit is here. Yep, Croc. Summit ripping through PNG. The clone, the fate's call out. R7 get the investment of ultimates from paiN Gaming. Now they can turn their eyes back towards the Drake.
So many ults wasted on the side of R7, yet they're still able to force paiN Gaming out of the river. They secure themselves the dragon. It will be their first of the game, and they will deny Soul Point. A very scary affair, given that Oddie used his ultimate defensively after getting caught by a charm, and then I think it was Seo's ultimate that was also then thrown into Wizer on the Ksante, who then just brushed it off.
Yeah.
So I was really worried for R7 at the very start of the fight, but ultimately they make it work. Summit doing so much damage on the backline.
You're really feeling that 2k gold advantage. Like, Wizer melted, I think, quicker than paiN Gaming expected him to, and Summit did not. He was hard as alligator skin, you might say, as he just ripped through PNG. The Drake Soul slowed, as you say. Rainbow 7, if they can get 4 Infernals, this LeBlanc is absolutely going to kick a punch. But now the next objective, Baron in a minute 30. We'll see the resets happening from both teams. Event Horizon completed for Keine here, alongside that Luden's companion. Oh, sorry, Horizon Focus, not Event Horizon. Completed for Keine. He will be, dashing in, dashing out, getting that extra damage from the range on the LeBlanc. Picking up all of these Infernal Cinders as well for that extra ability. Haste dodges away from the charm. Good reactions there. It was a blind dodge. As much as a dodge can be blind, I guess, because you have to see the ability to be able to dodge it.
Good reaction. Good
reaction. I should have just stuck with the first sentence I said, Vedi. Being too verbose here. Intense moments between R7 and paiN Gaming.
Maybe take a second to recognize the stakes that are on the line. The winner of this moves on to the main stage of the World Championship to compete against the best teams in the world. The loser goes home. Both teams playing safe, recognizing that, the rest of your year could be decided right now. You don't want to go home just yet. Both sides have opportunities to take control of this game. A single pick is all that's needed. Chitan, able to get away. Isn't forced to expand any of the summoners. Second item now completed for dyNquedo. As we see, all summoners can be available very soon. TP's almost up for both mid laners.
You can see how defensive paiN have to play, right? They're all the way forced back, as you say. They've got a bit of vision on Baron, so they're okay. They're comfortable enough knowing, cool, maybe they take away our Krugs. Does that really matter when they group up as 4? Spirit Rush away from dyNquedo from the Glacial Prism. Cariok looking for that Cyclone. Seo still available off towards the backside, but Kuri's looking for that flank against the Magnet Storm in. Summit coming in as well, as the base call will pull out one. Chitan chucks him back into Keine. The charm just wide, and Summit's on the back line now. Cariok trying to survive, but he can't through the power of the Croc. Wizer going in with the Pathmaker all out, pulls Summit into his team, and Summit's happy to be here. Nice to meet you, paiN. He'll take 2. R7 out with only 1 dead so far. Wizer and Kuri trying to survive under the safety of their tower, but that might not be too safe for too much longer. The permafrost going off. Lyonz going to tank the tower first. There's 1. Keine takes it. There's 2. Seo joins him. R7 with a wipe under the tier 2 in top.
It's an ace, and they only lose a single member. They're going to secure the top tier 2 as well, and that may very well have been the moment that defines this series. They tried to catch dyNquedo. He reacts quickly with the ultimate, but then paiN tried to force the fight. The TP comes in, but he's very far away as Wizer tries to find a flank. Look, this engage isn't really capitalized on. All these resources are being spent one by one, and now Summit finally joins the fray. He finds an angle onto the backline. Chitan can't hit onto anyone, and it was just a scattered affair. While R7 were clumped up, grouped up, could focus down a single target at a time, it was paiN Gaming that couldn't quite lock anyone down. And with Wizer then delivering Summit onto the backline, R7 win a massive fight, and you can see what it means.
Lyonz caught out a little bit here as the charm comes down. Glacial Prison hits onto Kuri as he was looking for the engage, but with the Storm Surge coming out, PNG have found a counter kill. Won't amount to much, but with Drake up in 45 seconds, it does delay the vision control that R7 could have acquired in this upcoming minute.
You can't afford to rest on your laurels, R7. You may have found a winning fight, but that doesn't mean that paiN are going to go quietly into the night. Notice Summit pushing in the top wave, has the TP available to him as paiN Gaming continue to reclaim vision control around the river, force R7 back. He's this constant point of pressure that paiN Gaming have to deal with.
You can see 3 of them recalling right now. Vision for Kuri. Doesn't have the flash, but has that Magna Storm, and with Seo not having a flash, there's always that threat. Chitan still has the cleanse and the Fate's Call, but with the Ginsu's now complete, you can see the win probability powered by AWS starting to swing into R7's favor, and that LeBlanc is pretty deadly. Void Staff on its way. Chitan, you got no flash. You got no flash as Oddie looks for the chase. There's the slow permafrost for the stun. Summit dashing across the wall. A good Magnet Storm from Kuri will buy his AD carry a second. Summit needs to get out of here now because PNG are starting to collapse. Summit with a Ruthless Predator. dyNquedo with the teleport behind. Lyonz going in all on his lonesome. Keine went in, but he was stunned immediately. And what looked like devastation for paiN Gaming is coming coming up in their favor. Seo is nowhere near the battle, and now Soul Point available, but Baron perhaps the call.
Was it overconfidence? Was it over eagerness? Regardless of what it was, that is seriously a bad fight for R7. Losing their mid and jungler opens up the Baron as an opportunity, and paiN, they catch the throw given by R7, and they're gonna swing the game just like that.
It just swings in a moment, pendulum between these two teams. The Drake will be taken by R7. They'll get their second Infernal, but I'm sure they wanted a much bigger prize. paiN Gaming down, but not out. With no paiN, there is no gain, and paiN have been through the ringer this one. But now they are within 1,000 gold of their Latin American opponents.
R7 just needed to slow down, but they kept their foot on the accelerator and they paid the price. Another tower will go down. R7, now the team on the back foot. The gold will be equalized, but look at the AD carries. Cheetan sitting with a healthy advantage, and just look at the minimap here. The Varus is in mid. They think they've caught Cheetan out of position, but the rest of paiN Gaming are quicker to collapse. The TP flank is so crucial as well. They just can't quite lock down this Kalista because they don't have the Sejuani ultimate. Summit's forced to retreat. dyNquedo on the flank, and then watch Keine tries to go in, gets chained, CC'd, gets shut down.
I actually think Kuri remounts as Keine comes across the wall and stuns him as soon as he lands. That's actually crazy. Maybe predicted, maybe just fortunate in terms of timing on that fight. Keine now looking to see if there's anyone to catch out towards this top side. Baron buff remains on PNG for the next 2 minutes. But they don't really have the siege that they want. Kalista not the longest range. Ahri has a little bit, but R7 able to clear out the waves. They're trying to work their way down towards bottom side.
I think they should just have Ahri sit bot with the Baron buff. Keep the rest pushing in mid and play between these two lanes. Ahri has more than enough wave clear to just be a nuisance. They've been able to make the rotation happen. They've been here faster than R7 have, and they're going to unlock another tower.
I think R7 willing to give that one up. You can see Seo stayed in the mid lane just to get this push out, try and delay the next set of waves. That's what Kaine's doing in the top lane as well. But from a game that was 4K in advantage for R7, now basically even between these two teams. Almost 3K off the Red Bull Baron power play.
They still haven't broken that mid tower though.
It's true.
paiN Gaming, they really want to secure that, giving them way more access into the enemy jungle. But you're right, this basically gets to neutralize the game. We now find ourselves in an interesting situation. Cheetan once again finds himself in the driver's seat. A massive threat on the Kalista. 3 items completed. If he's able to dance well in the upcoming fights, he should be able to navigate any potential backline threat. He should be able to make fun of this Renekton, depending on how circumstances align. But then LeBlanc, Keine, we've seen him find these one-shots before, and on the LeBlanc with 3 items, so much damage at his disposal. He could be the difference maker. Regardless, it's going to come down to another tense fight. Individual performance is going to be crucial, but this game finds itself on a knife edge, and what better way as both regions fight for a spot in the main stage.
Oddie's going to be charmed. Should be okay with this. Doesn't have the Warmogs, but Frozen Hard and Zeke's Convergence enough to keep him pretty tanky in this situation. paiN pushing through mid. They have 4, matched by Rainbow Sevens 4. Glacial Prison exchanged for a Spirit Rush away, and still that mid tower stands. Keine had stepped into Fog of War, and with the waves pushing in top lane, paiN Gaming could never have been sure they weren't being flanked by the LeBlanc.
Waves will be caught. Both teams take a breather, sigh of relief, spend what gold they've been able to grab. See a large rod now secured by Keine. Likely working towards either a Zhonya's or a Death Cap. We'll see. 3rd item now finished. Really 3 items being completed across the board for everyone. The gold really doesn't matter, or we're getting to that closer to that point. Again, the biggest differences between these AD carries. This Varus just doesn't quite do the same damage that this Kalista does, with a 2-level difference as well. It's going to be difficult, especially with this Ksante, level 16. We know how difficult this champion is to kill.
Everyone's got their summoners up as well, Betty. A minute before the next Inferno would be soul point for either of the teams, but not soul, importantly, if either one wants to give it up for pressure on a side lane. We've seen enough Nexus for Baron exchanges and Nexus for Drake. Always a possibility if one team out macros the other. paiN Gaming trying to regain control of their blue side quadrant here. R7 have a little bit of control for their own. Chitan, flash cleanse available, but currently his team now moves across to join him. There was a brief moment there where he was left without defenses. Summit pushing out top has the TP. Keine here, able to dash across this wall, can mimic that distortion, and then jump back. TP to the mid lane by Summit. They want to fight this Drake, Vedi.
Looks like it. I was going to say that they don't have to. They could just concede it, look to try and siege mid instead. But these teams want the third dragon of the game. TP comes through from Wizer.
He was trying to work his way down from topside to save the TP, but he just TPs in after seeing Summit walking across
Talked about
that ward on the entry.
For LeBlanc once again, trying to find the angle, but paiN Gaming doing a good job of spotting that out. Chitan starting off the drag.
Charm lands down onto Keine on the bottom side. You can see he's trying to burst dyNquedo out as well. Summit and Wizer towards the top. The clone coming out from the Wukong. Cyclone used, but only defensively. Another charm's going to land, though. Sterak's enough. The Magnus Storm won't do too much because on the backline, Kuri and Wizer are getting eaten alive by Rainbow 7. Cariok, dyNquedo, and Titan have one health bar between them. Chitan trying to escape. He's locked up by Oddie, and the stun will connect. He can get one kill, but it won't be enough. The wave's not in a state for R7 to end immediately, but they wrested control away from paiN Gaming.
It's an ace for R7. The start of the fight looked promising, but the crowd control just didn't connect at the same time. Good damage from dyNquedo onto Keine, pretty much eliminating both mid laners from the fight. But then look at Renekton immediately onto the backline, forces the cleanse. The ultimate comes out as well. But look now, both carries are forced to disengage. Cariok the same. And the scattered team fight from paiN Gaming mean that R7 can collect themselves. Their target focus was good. And they're able to find another ace. Dragon secured. R7 find themselves once again at the precipice of qualifying for the main stage.
Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. Just like, keep going.
That's a lot calmer than I'd be in that situation, I'll be honest. I'd be screaming bloody murder. As R7, as you say, one step away, one fight away, 3,000 gold in the lead. Kuri getting hooked, Keine jumping across the wall, can't land the chains, but R7 very much on the front foot now, and perhaps a little bit too much. Jet charge coming out as well. Lyonz is just deleted. He's burst down, steps into darkness, and is met with it. Kuri almost falls to the chains and does to the piercing arrow, but Keine will follow suit. And as soon as you say anything good about R7, they walk into their own demise. Oddie caught out with the charm. And now it's paiN Gaming in control.
Another colossal mistake from R7. They overstep, they're over-eager. They needed to just calm down, but they just couldn't help themselves. And they walk into the meat grinder that is paiN Gaming. They find themselves 3 kills. They're gonna get another Baron. And Medic, we're back into the fold once more.
Are we sure that wasn't a replay? I'm pretty sure that happened 6 minutes ago, Vedi. Obviously, Infernal Soul up in 3 minutes time for R7, but they're gonna lose so much before that. Still 14 seconds on Keine. 14-10 now on Oddie. A tier 1 in the mid lane has fallen. We talked about how hard it was for paiN to break these, but they just took 2 in short succession. They'll back away afterwards with the respawns coming out from Keine and from Oddie, but they still have the Baron on their backs for 2.5 minutes.
Let's look back. So again, look at the minimap, look at the positioning of Seo and Oddie. Lyonz is just going in. He's just walking like this jungle belongs to him. It doesn't, buddy. I know you feel strong right now, but as well, Keine getting locked up by Kuri's ultimate. And then the charm connects from dyNquedo, a crucial pick. And then Oddie just tries to come afterwards to only then get locked down himself. Just a massive overstep. I mean... Now the Baron buff sits in the hands of R7.
No one's defending mid. This is mid in him.
They've got, yeah, I mean, it's gone.
It's gone. They're trying to get back in time. It looks like they were trying to push out the side lanes, but they neglected the mid lane. Mid inhib tower gone. There's a possible TP from Keine, but he doesn't really have any wards to go to apart from on the top side. PNG now walking down towards the bottom. Kuri pops the blast cone and gets himself out. Keine now joining up with his teammates. Importantly, the mid inhib yet to fall, but with a minute and a half still left on that Baron. You think it's going to fall quite sharpish. Summit trying to deal with Wizer. Cariok just shadowing between the lanes. Lyonz there on the front line. Keine jumping in just to get the cannon minion. dyNquedo goes in, hit with the Glacial Prism, but is able to get out in time. R7, they've overstepped in this position, but before we saw as well that paiN Gaming were able to disengage in time. Keine looks for another chain, can't land it. TP now in, a hook lands, only onto the clone. TP stopped by Summit in the mid lane. This inhibitor tower falling lower. Base call going in, Sail pops a stopwatch, and Kuri's in the middle of them all. The dead charge coming in as well as Keine tries to put the damage down. Cheat down on the back line, dodges away from the distortion, but the Ignite is ticking. Cariok is taking out Oddie, Kuri falling low, Summit on the back line, dyNquedo falling lower. And R7 somehow, some miraculous way, have finally found a fight that might end the game in their favor.
Is it enough? Double TP into the top lane. Wizer is still alive, but R7, they find another massive fight.
Wizer can just go for the wave. Who cares about your life? If you can stop this from pushing in, he'll stop them. The chains land, but he's tanking up with the Keine Wukong.
They don't have a wave. Oh my goodness. Absolute chaos.
It's cinema, Betty. This is what you pay for. This is what you get your popcorn out for. This is what keeps you glued to your seat. It is cinema, and you can tell just how much it means for R7 and for paiN Gaming to beat the representatives for your region. The LLA have never had this opportunity. Well, they've had the opportunity. They've never made it to the Swiss stage. For CB LoL, it has been 8 long years. For paiN, it's been 9. Infernal Drake up in 19 seconds time, Betty. What we got in terms of summoners.
Into the Pentagon we go, Medic.
Cheetan still has his flash, has that face call. No flash for Sail, no flash for Keine. dyNquedo has a Rabadons. Will absolutely melt through you, but doesn't have that summoner at his disposal. R7 trying to get control here. There's a flanker. Summit is fighting against Wizer. Keine jumping in, looking for the damage. Lyonz here as well. Summit in the middle of them. There's the Magnet Storm, and Summit's already down to half HP. He tries to jump on to the back line. Cheetan falling lower. Summit's doing so much work, but he can't quite get the damage. Cheetan caught up with that Hexdrinker shield. He still manages to survive, and R7 have lost one. paiN Gaming healthy enough to continue this fight. They might just take the Drake. I think R7 will give up the Ghost on it. It's not soul for paiN. But it's more action, it's more fighting between these two juggernauts.
I mean, we've reached the point where Renekton now just has a much harder time playing the game.
Yeah.
So far, Summit has been consistently getting on top of Cheetan and making his life exceptionally difficult. But now with all these extra resistances coming through for him, it's harder to just straight up dive him and one-shot him. This time around, Cheetan is able to navigate his way through the fight. He takes out Summit. And now we're all tied up in Drakes.
And tied up in gold. 36 minutes in, 6 Drakes taken, 66.6 thousand gold for PNG, and R7 about to crest that mark as well. Cheetan burnt his flash in that last engage. Does still have, well, the cleanse back up in about 30 seconds time.
Not a Zhonya's for the Varus.
Yeah, he used it in the bot lane play with the Seekers. He managed to survive the engage from the Fate's call. It kept him alive.
My goodness, I'm now getting lost. There's so much happening. I need to lock in, focus up as we get closer to the game-deciding fight. Baron spawning, 45 seconds. The gold really doesn't mean much at this point as itemization is largely completed across the board. See a pot sitting in Oddie's inventory, waiting for the next fight to begin.
Yeah, Elixir of Iron, his beverage of choice. So he'll chug that before the fight begins, as you say. Look at Oddie, though, on a good flank here. If paiN Gaming back away in an inopportune moment, Oddie can find them. Hasn't been seen yet. He's trying to go for that long flank. Cariok trying to spot him out. Doesn't. Oddie's on his lonesome here behind the team, though. Backs away. The charm lands onto Summit.
Nice damage onto Summit.
Keine chunks out Cheetan.
Nice damage onto Cheetan. Okay, so low health members.
Kaine's half HP as well, though. dyNquedo looking for that charm. It lands onto Oddie. Pop the elixir. The root coming out as well as he's locked up in the middle of the team. Kuri pulled back with a face call. Summit diving in onto Cheetan. The more of Malmortius, the depth charge going onto that backline. Kuri falling over. Cheetan's already killed off Summit, and Kuri's been able to survive. It's 2 already for paiN Gaming. Depth charge coming out. Say you gotta do it all. Say you gotta do it all. But he can do nothing in the face of paiN Gaming, and now Keine trying to get in, trying to kill off one. Can he defend? I think the answer's no.
They don't have a wave to play with. Oh! Keine gets a crucial pick right at the edge. paiN Gaming win a fight, but now with Cheetan gone, I don't know if they can end the game.
It may just be the inhib. They shadow the wave in, Vedi. Keine.
I think they're going to try and end.
This guy has had the play-ins of his life. He's been the cornerstone of R7, and now he has to do it once again. They may just look for double inhibs. In fact, I think that's the call here from paiN.
It's the smarter one. It's for sure the smarter one.
Keine dodges the charm, doesn't hit the chains. The double inhibs go over to paiN. Now the Baron up.
Oh my goodness. So Keine keeps R7 just barely alive. But that last fight was absolutely insane. So R7 just got poked out. Summit got cut in half. Keine got cut in half. And Seo, he just couldn't fight. He couldn't really hit anyone in the fight. So there was such a massive damage difference. R7 have been finding so many good team fights in this game. But paiN Gaming, it feels like, as we've gotten later, have found the confidence. They know how to play the fights now. And it's only getting harder. Summit's not having the same impact that he was earlier in the game with a Bloodthirst to now finish for Chitan. He is completely full build.
And R7 have to manage their waves. There's double TP available for paiN. If they ever push out, if they ever get caught in a fight, all paiN have to do is delay, delay, delay. So far, R7 have tried to take a mile on multiple occasions, and paiN have only given them an inch. Now they give them nothing. Deny them control over the mid-wave, deny them control over the river. They managed to pick up the Scuttle Crab, but that's about it here for R7. Tournament lives on the line. Oddie stepping forward, Charm going wide, Banshee's available for dyNquedo. Shadowing Strike going wide as well, but Summit invests the Ruthless Predator onto a ward, plays out that control. R7 is 5, try to group up here and push it out once again. Summit
really nice
chunked out to half again. They can't get the control ward in the back of the pit. They can't get control over the
now. He has
Baron.
to base.
Yeah, he does. No
and
TP on him.
Yeah.
He has the Sterak's. He can cull the Meek on this wave, try and get the Ferocity stacks up. But he's still half HP. Maybe over to the Razor Beaks to use that Fury.
And here comes the Soul. He needs to base sooner rather than later. It's going to be too late. I guess he's just doing his best to heal up, and he's just going to play with this HP.
He was spotted by that Scryer's Bloom. Cariok hungry for blood. Sharks in the water. paiN Gaming start to collapse. Kaine's pushing out the bot lane. Summit still about half HP.
I mean, this is such a hard approach from R7 with mid and bot constantly pushing in your face. dyNquedo doing a good job of leveraging the fog. And here we go.
For the flank.
The Soul could determine everything.
Remember, Kalista Spear is something we haven't had to talk about too much this game, but it's so hard to outsmite that. Keine looking for it. Look how many spears are in there. Infernal Soul secured. Chitan gets the face call and flashes forward. Kuri can't quite land the lockup. Meanwhile, on the backside, Summit doing so much work onto Wizer. paiN Gaming got the Soul, but they've already lost one of their players. Perhaps R7 can chase for more. The base super minions pushing in towards those Nexus towers. And it looks like R7 won't get more out of the battle. Keine backing away. Chitan's down towards the bottom side. He's looking for the base, seeing if anyone gets the back off in time. Can't get there before Keine does. The Nexus tower stands. Oddie chasing out Kuri. Lyonz here with the blast cone will be able to find the flank, and Kuri won't have a way out of this. Summit's going to block his path. Baron wasn't started actually by PNG for a second. They'll just dash out. Kuri's going to fall. And now R7 can look for the Baron. Chitan was looking, perhaps if they go for the Baron, we can go for the flank. But Keine still has that TP. A steal for Cariok, a possibility. No flash on him, up in a couple of seconds' time. They're not going to go for it. The Baron, the first one of the game for R7, secured. It's taken 3, but they got one. And now,
my goodness. We go again!
We go again, baby! We go again. I didn't hear no bell.
What better way to determine a spot in the main stage than with a game like this? We crest 42 minutes, 42 kills. The goal is dead even, but it doesn't matter. Items being completed, it's all about the execution. The Elder, now the next big objective. The Soul is going to help, obviously, but we've seen that these fights play out in so many different ways. The reason why it fell apart for paiN Gaming in the last fight is because PNG, Chitan and Kuri hard committed onto Keine. I'm losing my words.
It's fine.
And that meant that a lot of the damage just disappeared. You need him in the fight, especially this late in the game. AD carries are so important, and that meant that when it came to a front-to-back fight, Seo was just able to get the better. They took down Wizer, and they were able to convert it into a Baron.
A couple of flank wards here left up for paiN Gaming. You can see 3 of them, one in that tri-bush. If R7 overextend without clearing out, well, the tri-bush one is gone, but there's a couple just behind. If R7 just overextend here, Wizer can TP flank, dyNquedo can do the same. We saw do it earlier this game. Someone's going to push out mid. The Baron remains for 1:40. Hopes of a region on the backs of these players. The last representatives of the LLA and the CBLOL here at Worlds. One last dance, you might say, as Kuri's chunked out. The damage from Keine would be even more if those chains had connected. Kuri's going to have to back away. Cannon minion pushing in, with the rest of the wave culled by PNG. R7 trying to sync their waves up, but can't quite do it. Just that cannon minion in the bottom lane. Keine still looking for something, jumps onto Kuri once again. The Shadowing Strike and the Crash Down invested, but they'll be back up in short order. Keine still trying to play out of vision. They do have a single Oracles on Lyonz if he wants to invest it, but decides against it for the moment. There's the TP, the ward we talked about, but you can see that because it's a control ward. Chain of Corruption coming out. Wizer trying to get onto the backline. The Depth Charge going to slow them. The Magna Storm going in as well with Cariok and Kuri and Wizer are all amidst Rainbow 7. They managed to kill off Sayo somehow, and now Lyonz is all hailing the retreat. Kaine's down. paiN Gaming find the flank they were looking for. Oddie trying to get out of here. Summit's killed off Kuri, but Cheetan and Wizer will get revenge for their support. Now Oddie falls. 60 seconds on the Depth Chimers. Waves can be pushed in, inhibitors broken, and perhaps the backs of Rainbow 7 too.
An incredible TP flank may have cemented the win for paiN Gaming. CBLOL are looking to return to the main stage. There's only a Nautilus standing between them. The inhibitors are still there, but maybe they're too far away. He just has to buy time. Can Lyonz buy enough time for his team to respawn?
17 seconds on Keine. 15 on Sayo. A cannon minion, 3 casters, and a dream for paiN Gaming. They immediately engage, and Lyonz cannot get to the wave. paiN Gaming have done it. 10 years ago, they were denied, and now after 8 years in the desert, paiN are going to Swiss.
An incredible back and forth game. Both teams putting everything on the line. But ultimately it was paiN Gaming that was able to find the final team fight. Heartbreak for LLA, but celebrations for CBLOL.
Elation for CBLOL. Elation for CBLOL. 8 years ago, INTZ were the last Brazilian representatives in the main stage at World. Now paiN joined them after having been in the league for 10 years, after losing in the first finals, defeating their decade-long rivals in this, to make it here, to take down the LLA. Of course, commiserations to R7. They were so close so many times in this game. It looked like it was done. It looked like they'd secured the win. But they fall at that final hurdle, and paiN will take the prize at the finish line. A position in Swiss for R7. Dejection, but still hope as a region. Still some pride to be taken in how well they fought.